I always thought love marriages were built on stronger foundations than arranged ones. After all, when two people choose each other out of their own will, it must mean their hearts are truly aligned. At least that's what I believed when I married my wife Sarah. We had known each other for 3 years before tying the knot. Our relationship was full of laughter, late-night talks, and promises we made to each other about a future that seemed unshakable. I was the happiest man alive when she agreed to marry me, despite some resistance from both of our families. We fought against traditions, we stood against society's whispers, and in the end, our love won. For the first 2 years of marriage, everything seemed perfect. We lived in a small but cozy house not far from my parents. Sarah was warm and supportive, and although we had our arguments, they were nothing unusual. We decorated our home together, planned for children, and spent countless nights talking about our dreams. My younger brother Daniel would often visit us. He was 5 years younger than me, more carefree, and less responsible, but I loved him dearly. He was my best friend, as much as he was my brother. I trusted him blindly, the way an elder brother always does. Little did I know that the two people I trusted the most in the world, my wife and my brother, would betray me in the worst way possible. At first, I didn't see the signs. Why would I? I had no reason to doubt. But slowly, subtle changes began to appear. Sarah, who once used to share every detail of her day with me, became distant. She spent more time on her phone, smiling at messages she refused to show me. She started dressing up more often, even when she said she was just staying home. Her eyes no longer carried the warmth they once had when she looked at me. Instead, there was a restlessness, a distraction. I brushed it off as stress or maybe boredom. I thought, maybe I should plan a surprise trip for us. Maybe she just needs a change of scenery. But fate had other plans. The truth revealed itself one evening in the most brutal way. I had come home earlier than usual. Daniel's car was parked outside, which didn't surprise me since he often came over. But when I stepped inside, I noticed something odd. The living room was empty, but Sarah's heels were tossed carelessly near the couch. I called out their names, but no answer came. My heart began to pound. Slowly, I walked towards the bedroom, and the sound of muffled laughter froze me in place. I opened the door, and my world collapsed in an instant. There they were, Sarah and Daniel, together in a way that no brother should ever witness. My own wife, the woman I loved and sacrificed so much for, in the arms of my younger brother. I felt like the ground had been ripped from beneath my feet. Rage surged through me, but it was quickly drowned by an overwhelming wave of grief and disbelief. Sarah gasped when she saw me, pushing Daniel away, stammering excuses that meant nothing. Daniel tried to speak too, but I couldn't hear anything. My ears rang with betrayal. My chest tightened as if it would burst. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. Instead, I turned around and walked out of the room. My vision blurred with tears. I refused. Let fall. That night I sat alone in my car for hours, replaying every memory, every moment, every promise. I thought about the times Sarah said she loved me, the times Daniel said he looked up to me. All lies. I realized then that my marriage was nothing but ashes. The next morning I confronted Sarah calmly. She begged, she cried. She said it was a mistake, that it just happened. Daniel avoided me for weeks, too ashamed to face me. But I knew one thing for certain. I couldn't stay married to a woman who betrayed me with my own blood. I filed for divorce. People talk about how divorce feels like tearing apart your soul, and they're right. It wasn't just losing Sarah. It was losing the life I thought we had, the dreams we built together, the trust that could never be repaired. My parents were devastated when the truth came out. Daniel became the black sheep of the family, and Sarah moved back with her parents in disgrace. For a while, I tried to heal. I focused on work, on rebuilding myself, but the wound was too deep. Every night when I closed my eyes, I saw their faces together, and anger clawed at my chest. I told myself I was done with both of them, but deep inside I longed for something else, Justice, revenge. Not the kind that involved shouting matches or violence, but the kind that cut deeper, the kind that left scars they could never erase. And that chance came unexpectedly. Sarah had a younger sister, Emily. Unlike Sarah, Emily was quieter, more thoughtful, and she had always been kind to me. She used to visit us often when we were newly married, and I had always treated her like a younger sibling. After the divorce, Emily reached out to me. At first, I thought it was just out of sympathy, but as we talked more, I realized she was genuinely different. She had seen what Sarah did, and she despised her sister for it. "You didn't deserve that," Emily told me one evening over coffee. Her eyes burned with sincerity. "She ruined everything, and she doesn't even understand what she's lost." I looked at her then, really looked at her. And for the first time since my marriage ended, I felt something shift inside me. It wasn't just attraction. It was the realization that here was a woman who understood my pain, who stood by me, and who silently disapproved of the betrayal that destroyed my life. That's when the idea formed in my mind. If Sarah thought she could shatter me and walk away, she was wrong. I would show her that her actions had consequences beyond anything she could imagine, and I would do it in a way that would haunt her forever. Once the idea took root, it grew stronger with every passing day. I didn't rush into it because I knew that real revenge wasn't about shouting, breaking things, or creating a scene. No, true revenge was about patience, about striking when the wound was still raw and making sure the scar never healed. Emily and I began talking more frequently. What started as casual conversations soon became longer, deeper exchanges about life, pain, and betrayal. She told me about her strained relationship with Sarah. She always thought she was better than me, Emily confessed one evening. Always the favorite, always the one in the spotlight. But look where that pride took her. There was no bitterness in her tone, only disappointment. And I realized that Emily wasn't like her sister at all. She was humble, kind, and honest. Slowly, the wall I had built around my heart started to crack. One night, as we sat in a quiet cafe, Emily reached across the table and placed her hand on mine. "You deserve happiness," she whispered. "Not this pain she left you with." I looked into her eyes, and for the first time since Sarah's betrayal, I felt warmth. Real warmth. Not the burning anger that consumed me, but the gentle warmth of someone who genuinely cared. It was then that I made my decision. I wasn't just going to move on. I was going to rebuild my life in a way that Sarah would never forget. Months passed, and my bond with Emily grew stronger. We laughed, we shared stories, and somewhere along the line, friendship turned into love. She was hesitant at first, knowing what it might mean for her family. But when I told her, "I don't care about anyone else, Emily. I care about us," she broke into tears and hugged me tightly. That moment sealed it. Word spread quickly in our community. The whispers started, the rumors flew, and eventually Sarah found out. She stormed into my house one evening, eyes blazing with fury. "How could you do this?" she screamed. "She's my sister." I looked her straight in the eye, calm and collected, just like the night I caught her cheating. "Funny," I replied coldly. "You didn't think about that when you were with my brother." Her face paled. She opened her mouth to argue, but no words came out. She had no defense, no excuse, nothing to justify herself. The hypocrisy was clear, and for once she was the one drowning in shame. Emily stood by my side that day, holding my hand firmly. She didn't flinch, she didn't hide. She was proud of her choice, and I was proud of her. In that moment, I realized my revenge wasn't just about hurting Sarah. It was about reclaiming my dignity, my pride, and my happiness. A year later, Emily and I got married. It was a small ceremony, intimate and beautiful, surrounded only by those who truly supported us. My parents, who had once been devastated by Sarah and Daniel's betrayal, stood beside us with tears of joy. My father whispered in my ear, "You deserve this. After everything, you finally deserve peace." But the sweetest moment of all came when Sarah herself attended the wedding, not by choice, but because her parents insisted. She stood there, forced to watch as her younger sister married the man she had betrayed, forced to witness how the life she threw away was rebuilt even stronger without her. The look on her face was priceless, a mix of regret, rage, and despair. That moment was the true climax of my revenge. I didn't have to scream. I didn't have to punish her physically. My happiness was her punishment. My joy was her nightmare. After the wedding, Sarah tried to talk to Emily, begging her to reconsider, to think about family ties. But Emily shut her down. "You lost the right to lecture me the day you betrayed your own husband with his brother," she said firmly. Sarah had no reply. Over time, Sarah's life spiraled downward. She couldn't hold on to a stable relationship, and her reputation in the community was permanently tarnished. Daniel moved away, ashamed and isolated, his bond with the family permanently broken. Meanwhile, Emily and I built a life together filled with trust, respect, and genuine love. There were still scars on my heart, of course, but Emily's presence helped them heal. And every time I saw Sarah's envious eyes when she crossed paths with us, I knew my revenge had been perfectly served. People often ask me if marrying Emily was just about revenge. The truth is, it started that way. But what began as vengeance grew into something real, something lasting. Sometimes life has a way of turning your darkest moments into unexpected blessings. And as for Sarah, she's a reminder to me and to everyone else that betrayal comes with a price. A heavy one. Looking back now, I don't regret a single step I took. I lost a wife, I lost a brother, but in return I gained a partner who truly values me. And Sarah? She lost everything because of her own choices. That's what betrayal does. It destroys the betrayer more than the betrayed. In the end, I learned that revenge doesn't always have to be loud. Sometimes, the quietest, calmest revenge is the most devastating of all. Because nothing haunts a betrayer more than watching the person they tried to destroy rise again, stronger and happier than ever before. And that's exactly what I did. So, if you're listening to this story right now, let it be a reminder. Trust is precious, and betrayal has consequences. Never take love for granted, and never underestimate the strength of someone you've wronged. My wife thought she could break me, but in the end she only broke herself. My brother thought he could steal from me, but all he did was lose everything. And me? I came out victorious, not just with revenge, but with love that truly mattered. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss more shocking, emotional, and satisfying revenge stories. Share this with your friends because sometimes the sweetest revenge is a story worth telling. The story.